Before I even put up the presentation, I'd just like to welcome all of you here to the igNIGHT information session. My name is Teresa, and I work with the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo, and I am a coordinator with the Community and Protective Services Department. Mhm. So, what I'll do is I want to let everybody know that this information session is really open for discussion. So what I'm looking for is collaboration, discussions, any type of questions that you might have about this project. We've really sort of tore down our typical application process so that it's really simplistic, so that we're not even asking for a proposal at this time. We're really asking for an expression of interest, and we're really trying to pull in some lead artists to help local creatives as well realize a project. So together, we're going to collaborate and make something happen. And finally, well, and to start, I suppose, I'd like to recognize that my feet here are planted also within this virtual space on Treaty 8 territory. This is the traditional land of Cree, Dene, and Métis people, as well as the traditional lands of many Indigenous people since time immemorial. So I'd like to thank you for all being here to collaborate in this space. With that, I'll be bringing up the presentation. Can I get a thumbs up from everybody for those? Thank you. Perfect. So Ignite this year is being planned for Friday, October the 13th, and will be a 10-day exhibition all the way through until the following Sunday, October the 23rd. Okay. Couple of notes as we move forward today. This event is being recorded and will be made available later on our website. Also, I think all of your audio devices will now be muted just for the presentation portion of this, and then we'll unmute you afterwards. But if you have any, questions that come up during the presentation, please use the Q&A section to ask questions. And I have some of our team members here as well recording some of those questions. So if I can't answer them today, then I'll be able to answer them after this presentation. And of course, if any technical difficulties do occur, we ask for you to hold your patience. And if anything horrible happens, of course, we'll reschedule this meeting. So we'd like to get into today, we will go over the curatorial theme. This is where I'd like some of your feedback as well. We'll look at the site and some of the site details. We'll talk about some of the important dates, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So transportation. So this is the 7th edition of Ignite. And over the years, our public art committee has now set themes so that we can sort of curate a theme that happens for all of the artworks that are being exhibited in the space. The idea of transportation is not only physical modes of transportation like trains, planes, automobiles, but it's sort of the transportation or movement of sound, of light, of of feelings, of people, of objects, of things that we may not even be known to this world as well. So when we're thinking about different dimensions or different um, parallel universe, like these are all acceptable thoughts and journeys that you can go on as you explore this theme. Um, I guess has anybody, have sort of an idea as to what they might want to do for transportation or for this theme? I'm seeing a couple of nodding heads. Yes, yes. All right. The idea is that we're not asking for you to necessarily propose a concept for us at this time. Maybe just have a general idea as to where you want to go with this theme. But then as you work collaboratively, if you are selected, then you work collaboratively with a group of creatives from this community to really flush out that idea, and then we'll propose that a more concrete thought at a later date. At this point, I'll open it up just for any questions surrounding this theme of transportation or any open discussion that we can have. Nothing. I love it. This is so easy then. So some of this, yes.
Am I unmuted?
No, I can hear you, Tanya. Yeah.
Okay, great. Actually, yes. How did the committee arrive at the theme of transportation in relation to it being a light festival? Like, where was their link? Like, I can think of links myself, but what were they thinking when they thought of light festival transportation?
Yeah, great question. So I think given the current site selection being the Keyam Park, which is there's many different modes of transportation that happen within this space. Um, I'll be honest, the Public Art Committee had a huge list of many different themes that they could approach this year. And then they really narrowed it down to this one because they felt like there's so many different ways that it can be interpreted. If you're coming at it from thought of, past methods of transportation or methods of transportation being within our region, specifically within Nistuwayu, which is the meeting of three rivers here. That's something that, you know, resonated with them is the how many different uses of transportation can happen even just within this community. Um, yeah, and then within our area, or within the region of Wood Buffalo, we're very close to Wood Buffalo National Park, which is known for its dark skies as well. So you think about light traveling from one point to another as well. The Public Art Committee had sort of many different discussions about, yeah, a variety of themes, but they really landed on this one because of our physical location within, you know, on this planet, I guess you could say. And then being that we are sort of that epicenter for transporting goods and services as well. So there's just so many different angles. That's a great question. hmm Does that help to answer? Yeah. It is hard. It's hard because I wish I had recorded verbatim what they had said, in their meeting, but it is really sort of such a broad topic. So I think it did start with, of course, with history and talking about that and how did people get here. And then people really started to think broader and broader and broader. And then, yeah. And then because of that, then it's like, well, this could be a really great theme. And then we can sort of tailor it a little bit more once we know what the artworks are, then we can get down to something a little bit more succinct. Mhm. Yeah. Do you have any other questions about, the theme of transportation or just this is a generalized theme? We'll develop a curatorial statement as we move throughout the program. Mhm. Yeah. And with that, feel free to interrupt at any time. We'll move on. The site details. TM Park is a new site that sits at the corner right in downtown of Fort McMurray. It's at the corner of Franklin and Avenue. And I think you can pull that up on a Google map, etc. I did actually go down today. All of the snow had melted over the weekend. So I was able to run down and capture a couple of videos of the site. They're not that great, but at least I can share a little bit with you. Um, these plans that you see on your screen right now are the original sort of design concepts that were created by the architects for the space. So from this, you'll see the natural playground space, and I'll let this play. This goes out to the corner, I believe this is McDonald Ave and Morrison Street. So these are one of our major intersections here. Behind you here is the highway, is our major highway, Highway 63. Yes. Anyways, within this park space and within many park spaces, you'll see these little outlets available to plug into so we can activate the majority of artworks. Artworks do need to be, you know, cognizant of any power draw, but I have been informed that there should be enough power here to activate multiple different pieces at multiple different amperages. Yes. Okay, and I have another site visual here for you. Up here is our, this is Main Street, and then the main street here is Franklin Avenue. This is our main drag downtown. And in here, you are looking into the park from Franklin Avenue. This is our provincial and municipal city hall is right here. And so this will move along into the space. It is predominantly concrete. So think of that as you're proposing artwork for this space. This building that you see here will likely not be in existence when you arrive to install. So just keep that in mind, that you won't be able to, for example, if you're doing any projection or, are interested in that, we'll actually have to physically do projections or create a scrim for you. Okay. Our next site, same sort of visual point. This is Franklin Avenue here. And then here, this is actually a spray pad, but it won't be obviously in use in October. This is a heated pavilion. So under here, there's a heated space that you can warm up in, and we plan on activating this space as well. And then there's a basketball court just at the back here, and then it continues on. That's the majority of the images I could capture today. Any questions about the site at this point? All right, perfect. This is quite easy. So, as you know, we are looking for expressions of interest, and this is where we're really just trying to find out who would be interested in coming to our community to do a project or to do it virtually. And then you do have to be here for the duration of the exhibition. So for the install dates, which is about a week before or so, and then for the removal dates as well. So you'll notice those periods are outlined down here. So from October 9th all the way through until October the 27th. If you can install or remove earlier or later, that works. Or if we can go through those negotiations at the time of artist selection. So if you're assigning somebody or a site manager here during that time, we can also make that happen. So your expressions of interest are due on April the 20th. Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay. So is it like last time where I see there's the installation and removal period, so the artist is responsible for the art piece after the entire exhibition?
That's correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
they are responsible to remove it from site. Mm-hmm.
And then essentially they get to keep it, what they're making. I just want to clarify that.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. Any other questions at this point? Okay. So your expression of interest should include, which is what is for our deadline submission here on April the 20th. It should include basically a detailed description as to how this project resonates with you and how you plan to, this is the most important part, how you plan to offer collaboration or opportunities for mentorship. And that, of course, can be to a large group of people or to a small group of people. There's no limit as to the scale or number of people that we're looking for you to interact with. So if you're thinking that you may just want to bring on maybe one or two mentees to help bring your project to realization, that's absolutely acceptable. We're really looking to create an opportunity for creatives in this community as well. Just given our distance from, from any post-secondary type of education or those opportunities to create collaboratively, this will give artists that sort of broader opportunity to develop skills, and vice versa, of course. And then please just include a couple of ideas within your expression of interest as to where you see that final installation being, sort of maybe an idea as to how large of a space you might need within the current exhibition space. Yes. Hi, Jamie. I see your hand is up.
Hi, Teresa. My question was, I assume that you have a list of artists that are interested in collaborating from Wood Buffalo, or do we need to seek out artists?
We'll help you with that. That's a great question. So once we know who the artists are, the exhibiting artists for this year, then we'll put out a call to local artists and to local creatives to see who's actually interested and is available to work with you. Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll work with them to find out what those time constraints are, and we'll help develop sort of that relationship with you. Um, Another great question to respond to might be site. So if you need a specific area to work within, we can help find that for you. And we'll work within our own budget. This won't always come out of your budget that we're offering you here. But out of our own budget, we do have some opportunities to rent out specific spaces that you may need. So we can talk about that. Yeah.
And just going over from our last experience with igNIGHT, there are power cable covers that you were able to get last time it happened.
Yep.
Was that something you would expect the artists to kind of bring in advance, or is there enough of city assets that we can find a generator, for example, if it's too far away from a plug, or cable covers?
Yeah, that is something that we, as the site managers, so the municipality, will make sure to take care of.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
I actually had an additional follow-up question. I assume that the preferred method would be to build something more on-site in Wood Buffalo with the artists that we're collaborating with. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, if you are building, because there's just so many different art forms that could be, right? If you are planning to come and build something with the artists, absolutely. If you feel that you can do this, and it really all comes down to how you best can communicate and work with a group of artists. If you feel confident that they could manage this independently with your virtual guidance, that can also happen. But it would be ideal in the end that you would be physically here at some point. hmm hmm That help to answer the question?
Yeah, that helped. Thank you.
Perfect. Mhm. Okay. And then, so I believe we were just having a quick discussion about the expression of interest and how to fill that out. And I'll be back with you in just one moment as at Enya. And then included within that is your portfolio. You can choose to submit an online portfolio or submit it in a PDF format, whatever your preferred method is, and include a biography and your resume or CV, as well as if you are doing a PDF format of your portfolio, please include an image list. Mhm. Did I see a hand up?
Teresa, it's Shoaib here. You do have a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
Do you want me to read them for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sorry if I'm getting this name wrong. Yasmin asked, can mural art on wood panels be proposed for this project, like a mobile mural?
Absolutely. Now, my only recommendation is and the is that you need to find a method to, of course, light it up because the Ignite exhibition is showcased at from dusk until approximately 10 p.m. every night for the duration of the exhibition. So it's not necessarily that not absolutely necessary that we need to see your artworks during the day, but we do need to see them at night. Mhm. And
Thank you
that
for that,
goes
sir.
for performance pieces. So if you're planning on doing any type of music or composing or sound or dance or theater, they would need to be done every evening throughout the duration of the exhibition. Mhm.
And we have a question from Laura. She asks, is there any specific criteria for selection slash assessment of the expression of interest?
Uh, the criteria based on what is already included in your artist call is truly how you're going to be collaborating and what you're planning to collaborate with, or how you plan to mentor some artists here within the community, and why you're inspired to participate in this program. And we're really looking for artists also that have a pretty good history with collaboration and mentorship as well.
Thank you for that answer. We have another question from Anya, and they're asking, how many artists are you looking to exhibit?
Yes, great question. It really depends on the proposals that come in, but we're looking at about 3 to 4 artists, depending. It could be up to 5. Mhm.
And lastly, one more question from Laura. Do you want all pics in a single PDF separate from other documents, or would you rather have all required items, CV, expression of interest, etc., all as one piece?
We're not specific in this area, but a nice full package is always welcomed. So one large PDF would be fabulous, but to be honest, it's not necessary. Whatever way is most comfortable for you, we can manage it. Mhm.
Perfect. No more questions in the chat.
Lovely. Tanya.
So if it's 3 to 5 artists, then you're looking for like large activations if it's to cover that whole park,
Mhm.
correct? So
Yeah, yeah.
you're looking for a fairly large scale piece.
Yeah, yeah. And it depends, right? Because it just depends on how far your maybe light would reach, or we're not
Right.
necessarily looking for physical pieces as well, right? So it could be if it is a performance, you could activate the space every evening through a performance piece or through a theater piece or perhaps a symphony, or these are sort of the things that come to mind when I think of activating a space. So
Okay.
it's not necessary that it needs to be in existence,
Right.
but it has to be exhibited every evening. Mhm.
And if it is physical, then how much of the infrastructure can we latch onto?
Great
Are you
question.
are you open to that?
We're very open to as much as possible to
Okay.
activate as much of the space as possible without overtaking other artists,
No, of course not.
spaces. Yeah. So we
But I
haven't
mean,
really defined a specific location for any artwork yet because we don't have any proposals in hand
no,
yet.
I know. But I mean the infrastructure, like I saw some structures in the park. Are
Yes.
we able to build around it, over it, kind of use it as an anchor?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Without Within reason. There is
Yes, of
a
course. Yeah.
required safety plan, and we'll have to have, of course, our team take a look at some of that. But uh, yeah, the world is your oyster for this project. I
Nice.
think,
Perfect.
yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do here is really break down any obstacles and allow creatives to think as broadly as possible. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts? No. I'm going to note something within this one slide of the important dates, which is your project proposal due, which could help to answer some of these questions. So once you start sort of working through your and really nailing down what your concept will be, um, we're we will require then a more detailed project proposal, which would include your plan timelines, your overall budget, your mentorship details and dates, and when you sort of plan to make that happen, and any other resources that you might need that we can help bring you to project completion. Yeah, and then something else to note, of course, is we will be bringing you in for interviews. So you'll be contacted on the 21st, and then your interview will be with a group of artists within the community, as well as with a member of Arts Council and a member of our Public Art Committee. And then they're just going to have that opportunity to sort of get to know you on a more humanistic level than versus just looking at, portfolios and et cetera, and to understand your excitement about the project. Mhm. Mhm. Um,
Teresa, sorry to interrupt. We have another
that's okay.
question in the chat.
Yeah.
The question is, do you have a general expectation of what percentage of total budget the artist fee will be?
So, no. No, because like the overall budget, you have a maximum budget of $20,000 would be the maximum budget that we could allow. At this point, it's really up to that June date, that project proposal date due in June, that we're gonna have to really nail down and negotiate a solid budget and see and understand if it's a reasonable budget, for the project that you're proposing with your team. Does that help to answer that question? Yeah? But I will give you a couple of details regarding budget. So if you are selected to participate in the program, upon signing the contract and registering as a vendor, and also showing proof of insurance, then you'll be awarded an initial fee of $2,000 just to get you moving and just to sort of like lock you in as an artist as part of this project. We'll then put out a call to local artists to start participating with you and gain interest in your project. And then once we get within the month of June, there's no specific, time in June, but within the month of June, once we have your project proposal in hand, then we'll be providing you the remaining 70% of your proposed budget, just as long as we agree with the project. And then prior to anything being installed, of course, we need a safety plan, and all of your project needs to be signed off by our safety team here as well. Yeah. So that sort of gives you a better understanding as to where the budget goes. Mhm.
Well, follow-up questions for you, Teresa. Thank you for that
Uh-huh.
information.
Yeah,
For traveling artists from out of town, can budget include accommodation?
100%, yes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So your budget, I believe in the artist call, it does sort of state some of the things that are included in the budget, but I'll pull this open one more time. So, da, da, da. Your budget can include, but not be limited to, transportation fees, materials, installation, removal costs, permits if required, artist fee. There's major capital costs would not be eligible, but again, those are subject to discussion. If it's a key component of your project, then these things do become relevant and needed. Um, any costs associated with a vulnerable sector checked. If you are going to be working with any youth under the age of 18, that needs to be considered, and we need to get you out to get that um, documentation. Studio fees, etc. Those kinds of things can also be included in your budget. Does that help too? What type of insurance? I see that. So we do general liability insurance up to $2 million. Mhm. Um, I believe that is also in the artist call as well. Any other questions at this point? Or thoughts or any type of discussions that we want to have or advice for our team here or thoughts to help you move towards submitting an expression of interest. And you can feel free to open up. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can open this up for general discussion. Feeling inspired. Very good. It's nice to hear. Anybody else have any questions or just general comments about the structure of this program? Or
In terms of
really unstructured?
for collaboration with younger artists, like
Yeah.
students and people in high school or beginners, aspirational artists, would participation and collaboration with them be considered if we were able to bring them in during the design phase via Zoom, in the shop if we're building it outside of a different city, because just the tools and materials are just a little too cumbersome to bring to Wood Buffalo to then assemble from start to finish. But at the same time, bringing the semi-finished product on site, opening it up so they can see the internal workings of a light up sculpture, if that's an example of it, so they can get understanding this is what you would need to do. These are some of the vendors, the logistics, electricians, like people you would have to kind of bring together as a team to make this a reality. Would that be considered like an okay kind of collaborative with aspiring artists?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Any opportunity to bring people together in a space and inspire them to understand the inner workings of a project is key and fundamental. Um, and as basic as it might be, or as advanced as it might be. And there's an opportunity to exchange ideas, not only with lead artists, but of course with the mentees as well, or with the other creatives. It's a mutual relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for the calls of artists, would these be professional artists, or are you going to be soliciting schools and like art classes, so that like we could inspire like a lot of younger students to show like, hey, this is a possibility, and especially with
Definitely.
the assets of Zoom calls in classrooms, that'd be great for some people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Now we have to remember that school ends in June,
Oh,
the end of June.
okay, March, April,
Yeah,
May,
and
June.
then you're moving into June, July, August.
Mhm.
So it's really you're looking at a summer month sort of
Are there
program.
summer art programs available at Wood Buffalo that you know of? I don't know. I'm just trying to say, like, where's the collective
You're putting me on the
group of
spot,
aspiring
Kevin.
artists already?
Pardon? Suncor Energy for the Performing Arts. Yes, so they
okay.
offer summer camps and those type of opportunities for young artists and adult artists as well. So
Okay, and the library I know offers a bunch of
yeah, the
programming as well.
library's
Okay.
wonderful. Yes. We do have a couple of. There's something called Startup YMM, which is a space that's used for entrepreneurs, but it can also be used. We'll have to have a discussion with the team there, but we can also talk about using that collaborative space that has just opened up. We do have a large format laser printer at the local college as well, so we can have that type of conversation too. We do have a local college, so Keano College is our college here, and they do have a lot of different spaces, even a print studio as well, that can be accessed. We just need to gain permission. They even have a theater as well, so and a theater tech too. So practice space and dance spaces as well. So yeah,
When
we
you mentioned
have a lot.
when you mentioned print studio, was that like screen printing or digital printing on a printer?
Screen printing.
Oh, okay. So we
Mhm.
could bring screens so people could screen print on site
Mhm.
then. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Teresa, we have a few questions in the chat.
thank you.
Are there any material restrictions for this project?
That's a really good question. What we typically always say in these environments is your design parameters, of course, have to be that artwork needs to be exhibited over 10 days. So it needs to be able to stand up to your natural elements like wind. There's quite a bit of wind during the month of October, rain, snow. You never know. It can snow here. We live in a northern community at that time. Um, and anything like that. So your standard sort of interaction with general public artwork is in the public realm and there's anything that can come upon it in that space. Now we do higher security for the park during the time of the exhibition. So if you do have a physical artwork, it will be there. And frisbees, yes. Luckily, there is not there isn't a frisbee golf course in this specific location, but there is a basketball court. So, yes. Uh-huh.
Another question for you. Are you looking for a detailed project proposal in the expression of interest based on past public art projects?
No, no. Yeah, well, we're not looking for a project proposal necessarily, but we are looking for your ability to work with a group of people or to mentor or to provide sort of, your inspiration. Include your inspiration for your project where you think you might go with this curatorial theme.
Yeah, sorry, that was my question, and I forgot to put in or, but yeah, so you're not looking for a detailed project proposal, but an expression of interest based on public art projects.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
exactly.
that's great, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Nicole.
And there's another question here. Can mentorship or community engagement be done during the event, or that should be done prior to the event?
Sorry,
And
can you say that one more time? Sorry.
yeah, can mentorship or community engagement be done during the event, i.e. a work in progress, or that should be done prior to the event?
It's a great
And
question. Yeah, and typically what we want is for mentorship to happen during the production phase of your piece. So creatives are looped in to that project, so they feel so they also have connection to the pieces that are being built within the space, so it is a learning process for everyone involved.
there's one more question with that, and it's, do you just want to see the finished artwork for the duration of the event? I wonder if Yasmin can expand on that, but I'm not sure if
I,
that, you know what
I
that
think
is.
I understand what they're saying, so yes. The finished artwork should be exhibited at the end of the event, but if it takes if it's a collaborative project that realizes itself during the event as well, that's also really interesting and a really interesting concept. So we won't shy away from that idea at all. So sort of a participatory project that happens over the 10 days could be quite interesting. Like a 10-piece act of a theater production, and you have to go every night to see it come together. Like that could be an idea. I'll just throw these out there. Okay, that's what you meant. Perfect. Mhm.
And I guess, Teresa, there's a longer question in there. If you're able to see the chat, I'll leave that for you. And one short question: how long should the expression of interest be? Max 1 page, or
How long does it take to communicate your idea in a succinct way would be acceptable, Um, it, ideally not 5 pages, but you know, that would be great. But we didn't put a maximum word, so I cannot say that at this point now either. So, uh-huh. And I'm going to read this out loud. I have lots of mentorship and community building. I feel confident in that aspect. Feel excited about that. Should I still apply, or are you looking for artists? I think you should still apply. Anya, if you can bear, I had this conversation with somebody recently, and if you can bring a group of people together to work on a concept and an idea and make that happen, then all the power to you. And that is exactly what we're looking for. We should have really just called this theme collaboration, really, or project manager. Uh-huh. That's wonderful. Thank you. Any other thoughts or questions or ideas that you'd like to share at this platform right now? We're always available at public.art@rmwb.ca. I can put that back up if you have any other questions or things that come to mind following this presentation. Mhm. Nothing? Good. Okay, wonderful. Good. Well, then we'll call it a night, I suppose. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And again, please reach out to us if you have any questions. This video will be placed on, recorded and will be placed online as well for you to reflect on and to hear my lovely voice, I'm sure. Mhm. And I can't wait to see your proposals. I'm really, really excited to, I'm sure I'll be working with some of you at a later date. So good luck and have a wonderful summer as well if I don't see you. Hmm Take care. Bye.